Have you ever considered creating your online courses? If you do, you might have seen two options. The first one, using a paid platform like Thinkific or Teachable. Most of the time pretty expensive, and you might feel locked as soon as you need something that the platform doesn't provide. The second option is to create the platform yourself to perfectly suit your needs. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time and effort. But there is a third alternative. Let me present you Moodle, a free open source LMS for learning management system. With Moodle, you can create multiple courses from different teachers with the lesson content such as basic text, images, videos and files, but also interactive content such as quizzes, comments and forums. To start using Moodle, you can either follow the quick installation guide in their documentation or opt for a fully managed service experience with Elestio. Our platform handles everything for you, including installation, backups, updates and ongoing maintenance. To start using Moodle with our platform, head to ls.io and click on Login. Then deploy my first service, search for Moodle and click on Select. Choose between the different cloud providers, region and service plan based on your needs. I will take 2 CPU and 4 GB of RAM and then Next. Then you can adjust the settings, choose between the different service support plan. I will keep the free included one and then create service. When the installation is finished, you receive an email, follow the click here to get the password link. Click here to copy the password to your clipboard and open your newly created Moodle instance. We arrive on an empty homepage because we didn't create anything. So it can be scary, but don't worry. First, we need to log in as the root admin user. The main account used your email address that you set up when you created your instance and paste the password from your clipboard, then log in. Now we arrive on the administration dashboard. Let's start by creating our first course. So we can go to My Courses and we have an onboarding tour explaining that there are courses and categories. We can add, copy, delete and hide courses from this menu. Okay, perfect. Let's start by having a look at View Quick Start Guide, so it can help us start creating our first courses. It redirects us to Moodle Academy with a Quick Start Guide explaining us everything we need to know to start creating our first courses and first lessons. And of course, this academy is built using Moodle. Okay, let's create our first one together. Click on Create Course. Let's name it 3D Web Development. We can enter a short name, 3D Web Dev. We have to choose a course category, but because we didn't set up the categories, by default we only have the default one, which is category 1. We can edit it later, we'll see it. Then we have to choose the visibility. When our course starts, we can choose a date in the past. When it ends, if we want an end date, we can keep it. And then our course summary to explain what it talks about, to try to have students enrolling into our course. Let's say learn everything about 3D web development. And you have that nice what you see, what you get editor that you will see inside all the different components of Moodle, which help you edit visually the content, add images, video, format it. And because under the hood it generates HTML, you can also switch to source code view and write HTML with inline CSS or style code inside. Perfect. Then let's attach a course image, a thumbnail, to get more clicks onto our course. Let's click here. I will upload the thumbnail of my course. Open. You can add a few options, but we can just keep it and upload this file. Here it is. Then we have a lot of different options. The most important one is the format, which will define how our course is structured. We have the choice between custom sections. It's the default one. It means our course is divided into customizable sections. You can think about sections like chapters. Then you have weekly sections, which will divide your course into sections but corresponding to each week, which is ideal if you have, for example, a time-based program on a few weeks. You can choose this one. You also have single activity. Maybe this use case is more if you want to redirect to somewhere else, or if you have a form to enroll user and have an offline training. And you also have social, if everything is centered around a main forum on the course page. We'll keep the custom sections one. You can adjust the number of sections, but don't worry, you can adjust it later, create or delete some. You have a lot of additional options. You can force the language, but we can keep the default language applied by the browser detection. You can customize almost everything. Decide if you want for the completion of a lesson by student, if you enable it, which means if you want your students to be able to validate that they finished a lesson. You can also have groups. If you go here, you have a hint about what it is, and it is when you want to separate your student between different groups. I guess it can be useful for education centers or schools, but for our demo, we won't add groups. And then we can specify tags to our course, because for this demo, we will create only one course. But the main purpose of using a whole platform to hold different courses is that you can create multiple courses with multiple creators, and then you will let visitors and students browse the content. So they need to be able to find it easily. Let's add a few tags here in enter tags. Web dev, development, 3D, and save and display our course. Like every new feature in Moodle, you will always have a small tool to show you different features. Here you have the edit mode. We will enable it later because we are the admin. We'll be able to edit our course while navigating through it. Next, we have the course index, where we can see the different sections, the chapters, and the lessons and contents it contains. And then it explains us that they created an announcement page that we can use to share announcements to our students. As we have seen in the tour, the main thing to do is to switch to edit mode. So now it's the same view, but we can rename different things, different pages, and add an activity or resource to one of the sections. And this is where the magic of Moodle appear. It helps you and it provides you different type of content to create your different lessons. It is spread in two main categories: the activities, where it will help you engage your students, for example with quizzes to ask them questions and check if they learned from the previous lessons, or ask their feedback, or create a forum section so they can learn together. And the second category is resources. This is what you will use to create the content of the lesson. Let's start with the basic page lesson. Let's name it Introduction, because it's the first one of our course. Then we have the description here. The best place to have fake content is lorem. Let's paste what we found. So here's the description. So maybe we can put a smaller thing. And then the page content. So again, we have our what you see, what you get editor, where we can enter whatever we want. We'll see later that there are alternatives to do this to create the content of our lesson. Then we have different options, the appearance, some settings like the restriction if you don't want everyone to have access to it, some completion conditions, and some tags and competencies. The more you will fill those sections, the more your content will be browsable, and it will help the students to find what they are looking for. And also, if you enable search engine to browse your website, it will help your content to be indexed. Let's save and display our first lesson. Here it is. We have the content that we wrote. It's not very visual. Maybe let's add a picture to it. So we are here in our what you see, what you get editor. We can add again the thumbnail that we added earlier. We can adjust a few settings, course cover, save, then again save and display. And this is how you will create your different lesson by using the what you see, what you get editor. What we created is a simple page, but there is another type of content to create our lesson that is specifically made for it, which is a lesson, and you have additional options for it. I want to use a lesson that I created for my course. It's named Setup. It's the first one. The description is everything you need to get started. Again, you have different options based on the type of content. So here for appearance of a lesson, you can add a progress bar to see how far you are in this specific lesson and to display the menu or not. Let's skip the other ones and save and display. And one lesson can contain different type of content inside to really create a structured lesson. Let's add again a content page. Let's name it intro of this lesson. And then my page content, I don't want to use the what you see, what you get editor because I have MD file format that I use to write my course. Every time we have a question, we can refer to Moodle documentation to find the answer. Here I was looking for Markdown syntax, and you have a section explaining you how you can switch to it. We have to go to site administration, plugins, manage editors. Maybe let's save first. We'll need it. So let's say intro, save page, and let's go to site administration, then plugins. We are looking for manage editors. It's here. And by default, we have 3 plugins. We have Tiny MCE, which is the what you see, what you get editor we saw. Another one, Atto HTML editor, or plain text area. This is the one we want. So what we need to do is to move it in the first position. So it will use by default this one. If we go back to the lesson, the intro one, now we have page content. It's just a big text area. We can switch between HTML, Moodle, plain text, or Markdown format. We want this. I can paste the code of my existing lesson. You can see it has the Markdown syntax. Perfect. I can save the page and automatically you will have the nice syntax with the titles, the link, the list, and I think I have some code. Here it's some code. We just have an issue with the image, but it's because in my Markdown file it is local. So here it's not working. But if you use remote image URL, it would work perfectly fine. Then there is another alternative to create content very easily, is if you have your lesson as files, as PDF or any other file format, you can drag and drop it. And automatically, when it will upload them, it will create one page per file. Then, because the name isn't perfect, we can just quickly edit them and we will have a nice structure for our course. Fine, we have a nice first section. Let's create another one. By default, they are all named new section. Let's rename it, maybe student section. Let's try the interaction features inside it. So add an activity or resource. Activities, we can start with a quiz. Let's name it questions. Test your knowledge. Here it will be the what you see, what you get editor, but because we switch for the whole instance, now we can just choose text. Then you have all the different options based on what you need. And on layout for new page, by default, it's to every question. Maybe we want all the questions on the same page. Let's keep all the settings, but you can see it's very powerful. So it can fit to very specific needs. But when you don't need them, just keep them. Let's save and display. And let's add our first question. Add question. We need to edit it. Quiz time. Inside, we will add a new question. And you have different type of questions. If it's ordering things, drag and drop into text, it's very powerful. You can really create the type of quiz you want. For this demo, let's just keep the simplest one, the multiple choice one. Add it. Let's type random question. What is 3JS? Oh, it's the name of the question, but type also this for the text. Question status, it's ready. General feedback, we won't add it, but here again, you can use the tooltip to have more information. One or multiple answers. We only want one right answer. You can choose the different type of order you want for the different answers. And then we need to enter our answers. Choice 1, I don't know. A good thing. Oh, this is the feedback. So switch to choice 2. choice 3, the true answer. And when it's the right answer, in grade, you need to select 100%. You can see you have other options as well, based on if you want to have multiple right answer, or if you want some answer to impact negatively the overall grade of the student. Let's keep them to known and save changes. Fine, in a normal scenario, you will add more questions, but let's use another type of content we can do. Add an activity or resource. And this time we want the feedback of our beloved student. Give us your feedback. We want to hear from you. Okay, question and submission settings. Do you want it to be anonymous or not? Allow multiple time. Again, you have the control. It's a very good thing on Moodle. Then save and display. And fine. So far, we have seen the edition as a teacher. Now let's go to the other side as a student or someone who wants to browse the course. Let's copy the URL of our instance, and in incognito tab, let's open it so we won't be logged in. Let's enter, and we can see we have available courses, 3D web development. Let's try to open it, but it will ask us to log in, and that some courses may allow guest access. But if we try it, by default, we didn't allow guests, and people can't create their account by themselves. We can change it. As always, we can refer to Moodle documentation and follow the different steps to enable sign up. We need to go to site administration, click the plugins tab, and add authentication, email-based self-registration. Let's do it. Site administration, plugins, manage authentication. Here you can see all the different options to authenticate, which one are enabled or not, and also where those users are coming from. So here you have the statistics about it. So you can see here email-based self-registration is visible, but we need here to enable it in the common settings. Then it should be fine. We can save the changes. In the meantime, let's say we want to enable guest access to our course. We follow the documentation. This time it should be located in My Courses, the option of this specific course, participants. Currently we don't have any, but here you can have the list of all the students. Here we need to switch to enrollment methods, and to enable guest access, we just need to click here to make it visible. Now let's try the two different settings we have made. So we are currently a guest. If we type login, now this time we can create a new account, but let's not do it. Let's try the guest account. We are here, 3D web development, and this time we have the guest access. The only difference is as a guest, you can browse the content, but if you want to go to the interactive sections, you won't have access to it. They will tell us, okay, you need to log in as a full user account. Instead of creating a new account, let's go to our course, open it directly in preview mode. We can disable edit mode, open to preview the quiz. We have the answer here. What is 3JS? We choose the true answer, finish attempt, submit all and finish. And now we have our grade. Of course, we should put more questions to make it interesting. And then we can also try the feedback section. Here we want to hear from you, answer the questions. And no questions have been set up yet, so we need first to create one. In settings, question, go on edit questions, add question, long text answer. Question, what do you think about the course? Don't be shy. Save changes. Perfect, here it is. Now answer the questions. This is a great course. Thank you. Submit your answers. And when your students do it, here we are the teacher, it's a bit of nonsense, but you can open the response section and you will see all the different responses. We have seen how to create the content of our courses. Of course, you can still dive deeper, refer to the documentation if you need any help, but then there is the whole site containing your different courses. By default, it's named New Site. We can edit it by going to Settings. It's something we see only because we are the admin of the instance. Full site name, Learning Center, Learn, Site Home Summary, Learn everything you want to know. You can choose what you display on the home and so on. Then save changes. Now you can see the main title is Learning Center, while on the top left, it's the short version. You can make the home more interesting, switch back to edit mode, and you can add content directly on the homepage, add an activity or resource, and it's the same type of content that you can add on the different content of your courses. You also have on the right a sidebar where you can add extra information. You can add a block. Let's say we just want to display some text, some information. Text block title, bio. So who is the teacher of all those courses? I'm your favorite teacher, but you don't know it yet. I will highlight this with the Markdown syntax. I will switch to Markdown, but again, it's because we switch everything to plain text. Save changes. And then on the right, you will have the bio. We also have the course that is set in category 1. So we said we will see it later. What we can do to switch to another category name is to go to Courses, Manage Courses and Categories. And here, I think you should start with it and create the different categories. So we can edit the default category. Category name, Web Development. Learn Web Dev, save changes, and automatically it will change the name to the category without impacting the children of this category. And maybe you don't want your course to be free. So if you go back to Site Administration, scroll down and go to Payments, you can choose Payment Accounts. You can add different payment accounts from different payment gateway to enable your courses to be paid to have access to them. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed discovering Moodle with us. Please hit the like button to help our channel be more visible to other open source lovers. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss our next platform overviews. If you want to continue your open source journey, I recommend you watch this video, available here.